And joining me now is Peter Navarro. He is the Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. He's also the National Defense Production Act Policy Coordinator. Dr. Navarro, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning,
and I want to start with something the Chief of Staff said on Friday. Take a listen, sir.
We're going to take executive orders to try to alleviate some of the pain that people are experiencing. This is not a perfect answer. We'll be the first ones to say that. But it is all that we can do and all the president can do within the confines of his executive power.
So is this an acknowledgement? Do you agree with the Chief of Staff that this is not enough, that this is a small amount here, and that in order to do more that's necessary, you still got to work with Congress?
He didn't say it was a small amount, Chuck. What he said was it's not enough. What we've got here is the failure of talks and the president taking action on four fronts to help four discrete groups. So you have the payroll tax cut, which is effectively a substantial wage hike for Americans who have their jobs. You've got a plus up for workers who are on the unemployment lines. You've got relief for renters and single-family homeowners so they don't become homeless. And you have, for our young people who have this crushing burden of student loan, you have relief. And those are four targeted solutions, and that will help deal with the pain. It's unfortunate that we have not yet got a deal, but in the absence of that, President Donald J. Trump is acting on behalf of the American people.
I want to ask you about a few of these provisions. Some of them look legally dubious here. Are you confident? What gives you confidence that the president has the power to decide when to postpone the collection of taxes?
Well, one of the things I've learned here, Chuck, at the White House, going through a lot of work on executive orders, is what we have the statutory authorities to do. And I'm confident that every single one of those orders which cleared through the Office of Legal Counsel will stand up. If you look, for example, at the eviction and foreclosure language, you in your opener there, you noted the words "shall consider." Well, that's how you have to write it, but everybody knows in that bureaucracy that you damn well should do it, and they will. So there's that. The payroll tax cut, we clearly have the authority to do that. That can be done easily through the Treasury Department. And I would note that in 2012, Nancy Pelosi was a strong supporter of the payroll tax cut, and Barack Obama used bonds funding to make sure that Social Security was not harmed in any way. And President Trump, there's nothing more strongly than he supports is the integrity of Social Security. So each of these provisions work. It's unfortunate that these negotiations to date have failed, but I mean, look, this should be easier than it is, Chuck. We've got two sides. One's at $1 trillion and others at $3 trillion. The first thing you have to do is agree on some number in between. Once you do that, step two is figure out within that what you both agree on, something like a $1,200 check to every American. And then what you do is you trade off, go back and forth across the table what you want, respecting each other's red lines. You don't make the Republicans play for Planned Parenthood or pot farms, for example. This should be easy. The question we've had watching this unfold, the question the president has, is whether the Democrats really are sincere when they come to the table. And I'm not sure. It doesn't help when Speaker Pelosi goes out after every day with her scarves flying and just beats the heck out of us for being cruel people, when in fact you have a president.
But Dr. Navarro,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, let me ask you this. Where is the president? Why was he at his golf club all weekend? Why isn't he negotiating? Look, I understand you guys don't like each other. That Nancy Pelosi and the president. Well, where is he? Why isn't he involved?
Look, you have to understand, this is the hardest working president in history. He works 24/7. He can be in Bedminster, Mar-a-Lago, the Oval Office, or anywhere in between. He can be at the Whirlpool factory like we were in Thursday, celebrating working men and women benefiting from tariffs. He's working 24/7. The problem here is Capitol Hill, the swamp, the two houses that are too far apart. I mean, the Lord and the Founding Fathers created executive orders because of partisan bickering and divided government. That's what we have here. But the president's taking action. His constituency, let's be clear, his constituency is mainstream Republicans, blue-collar Democrats, and independents who are sick and tired of the swamp. And he reached out and he took action. He didn't have to sign those executive orders. He could have just let this keep going. He did not do that. He took action.
Okay, you outlined how a negotiation works, and you did something very interesting. You said, okay, the Democrats are at $3 trillion, the Republicans are at $1 trillion. You got to figure out where to meet in the middle. That's what the Democrats proposed. They said, "Hey, Chuck, let's meet in the middle on a number," Chuck, and it looks like Mark Meadows said no.
That's not accurate. And here's the thing. The cardinal rule in negotiations is you don't do them on TV. You don't do them here on TV. You don't do them on Capitol Hill in the rotunda like Nancy Pelosi does. You do it with sincerity. You have to have both sides willing to make a deal. I know a deal can be done if you just go by that rule. It can be done, but in the absence of this, the American people have to understand.
Let me ask you this.
President Trump will act to help people who are unemployed, who are hurting, people who are working that need more money, renters, homeowners who are really facing a bleak future of evictions and foreclosures, and students who need to get out from under that burden of debt.
Assuming negotiations continue and a deal happens maybe in a week or 2 weeks, I assume all these executive orders become null and void?
If Congress solves the problem, there's no need for the president to take executive action. Okay, that's we'll see what we get. But here's the point. Let's not go there. Let's go to this. We've got 4 actions President Trump has taken that will help workers, the unemployed, renters, homeowners, and students who have student loans. What we need is a sincere negotiation. We have to believe that both sides actually want a deal. And there is this theory, Chuck, that the Democrats would prefer to see the economy go into the tank for another 90 days because that harms the president. I hope that Capitol Hill hasn't become that cynical. But watching these negotiations, it makes me wonder, because we've been willing to bend.
I think the cynicism is a two-way street. I take your point.
He's willing to bend.
Well, I think he has a reputation of killing more deals than he does of solving them.
That's not fair.
Let me move to your other job.
And he's a great negotiator.
In the Freedom Caucus.
And what we don't want is to have this break down. And we went up there in good faith. We didn't see our side going out in the rotunda and throwing grenades. It was the other side doing that.
Okay. Let me ask you about your DPA part of your job. You wear a lot of hats.
Yes, sir.
The Washington Post over the weekend, the lost days of summer, how Trump fell short in containing the virus. And I want to pull out this paragraph because I think it impacts you, Dr. Navarro. Despite repeated calls to invoke the Defense Production Act to help resolve testing supply shortages, the administration has resisted doing so. Trump and several White House aides have instead continued to think that it is politically advantageous to cede the issue to the states to avoid taking ownership or blame for the issue, even though testing shortages are largely seen as a federal failure. Why haven't you used the DPA to help fix this testing problem in the country?
So we're going to come out with a report early this week that identifies all of the things the president has done using the Defense Production Act. There's over 30 actions we've taken, a lot of them related to testing. I think the poster child for that is a DPA Title III that we did that got Guilford, Maine, the Puritan Company, upping their production of swabs to $20 million a month. Those are the kinds of things we're doing. We're fighting using the DPA on all fronts. Chuck, we used the Defense Production Act to stand up a factory in Kokomo, Indiana by General Motors in 17 days. Nobody will ever do better than that. And 3 days
but where's
later,
where's that urgency for testing?
Pardon me?
Where's that urgency for testing? That's the point here.
Look, there have been selective instances. I'll give you another example.
Selective instances.
We're issuing grants to make sure we get point of care virus testing. This, to me, is going to be the game changer, where right now we've got 2 types, right? We've got a lab test that takes number of days, which is not optimal. It's highly accurate. We've got the ID now of Abbott, which takes 15 to 20 minutes. We're rapidly expanding that reach. What we'd love to do is have a point of care, kind of like a pregnancy test, but the same idea, where you can do it at your home. And we are Chuck, we are working 24/7 on these things, and we've made great progress on therapeutics, on vaccine development. This president is going to probably be able to get one or more vaccines by the end of the year. That's a third of the time it usually takes in using the Defense Production Act. So I'll personally send you a copy of this report when it comes out. You tell me afterwards whether we've done a lot or not using that DPA. But it's the most rapid industrial mobilization in this country since World War II.
And I think there are a lot of people that hear your enthusiasm and want to see you use it even more. But Dr. Navarro, I have to leave the conversation there. Thank you for coming on and sharing the administration's perspective. I appreciate it. Yeah. Hello from Washington. I'm Chuck Todd, and thanks for checking out the Meet the Press channel on YouTube. Click on the button down here to subscribe, and click over here to watch the latest interviews, highlights, and other digital exclusives.